I'm gonna take a chance at the mics working, and I'm going to give a shout out to Miss DJ Miss Sheldon. Yeah, these glamour shots are nice. She always looks good, but the glamour shots are really nice. Fire Dancer's looking good. Chicken Wing Candy. Oh, Faith, I don't see her on that much. And this Miss Fire. Oh my God, yeah, these glamour shots are really good. Mira's looking good, and then the Valentina Nappy. She's not visible, but ooh, I don't remember where I saw that Mrs. Fire. And let's see, we got Tango Tech, Good Time with Scars, and Melina. Two YouTubers for two Hermitcraft people. Our Minecraft goes. They're showing up. Okay, let's go into the stream. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Hey, this is fucking awesome. Okay, oh, hang on. The other one I would, but it's a little harder to get into, so I just wait for that one to fall out. This one here, I lost it again. I did not find it in the same spot, but it was in the it was right in there in the well. It just fell down. I had to break it open and go get it, but I didn't lose it. That's twice now. I thought I lost it, and upon investigation, no, I didn't. There was oh wow. There I don't know what it is. I really don't, but I keep breaking the glass while I'm doing it. And I don't know. I think I'm just doing it and not paying attention to what I'm doing. But that one there, I really broke it, and the it caused the water to fall down. So I had a whole bunch of problems. There was some redstone that got displaced and some other stuff. Uh, okay, no sky rats. Uh, yeah, I pretty much got that done. I gotta put a oh. Oh. Okay, and I gotta go back, or I'm gonna. This one is definitely my fuck up. Oh, those guys came back. Yeah, if I go down there, I'll set off another. But this one here, I can actually see it. Uh, on that other one, I think I cleared it, and I've had it happen here where I go up and clear it. I've got this bottom one shut off, and I go up and clear it, and then as soon as that raid's gone, it will clear again. So I can. It seems like I get. I want to say I'm blessed with bad omen. Just give me a minute. I should have. I didn't think, but I went. I didn't go down and even shut off the thing, but I forgot about this. Maybe that's what I did the other day. I don't know. But the documentary I watched, I was talking about it last stream. It was UFO Revolution. It's the first part. It's a 3-part documentary series on Tubi. I think it's TMZ, but it's got a splash when you start it up. It makes it think that Tubi's the one that had it. But it's part 1, Breakthrough. This is a documentary on Tubi right now. I recommend you go watch it. And I just recently saw it. I don't know exactly when it came out, but I recently saw it. And I think it's useful watching it now because you guys can verify, the people that were covering this as news have just drifted off. They've just gone silent. The Congress people aren't talking about it that much anymore. The press isn't covering it that much. Some of the smaller venues like News Nation, I think still does it, but it's not as much. And it's almost like they muzzled the Congress, the senators and the House members. And this might be an old thing, where they come forward, they're real brave, and then they get put in their place. But when it starts out, the documentary, I don't know, I'll comment on it, I think, if part 2, part 3. But part 1, it starts out with video and images taken from the past when it was harder to create fakes or easier to spot them. And some just released. The military can't or won't explain. They put up it was one of the Tic Tac. It was either the Tic Tac, maybe more than one, but it was either the Tic Tac, the Go Fast, or the gimbal video that was released. They put those up, and then it starts out July 26, 2023. It was last year. Not even a year ago. Mainstream news was alive with the story of congressional hearings that were coming out on this. ABC, CBS, NBC, they were all covering it back then. It was big news. And then all of a sudden it goes quiet. And these things that were being reported back then, they've talked to the military people who were involved in spotting it, and they're like, these things happen all the time. This is not, we got 3 videos. Ooh, ah. They're like, these things happen all the time. And so I don't know, but it should not be an old thing. And this is something Jon Stewart said. It used to be they covered journalism like a professional soccer field. Everybody had their zones. There was some overlap, but everybody had their zones, and they covered it. And he goes, nowadays, and we saw it with the UFO thing. Nowadays, it's like the media covers it like grade schoolers playing soccer. And I never played professionally. I played soccer as a grade schooler. I know what he talks about. Wherever the ball goes, there's a huddle of fucking kids running. And we used to play football, American football. We had a really good principal. Yeah, see that there was none, and it just fired off another one. He went out every day and played football with us at lunch. and he'd throw the football, and whoever had it, would run as long as he could, and he'd either give up the ball or he'd get tackled. And the ball would get thrown back to him, and he'd throw it to another one. And he was a great guy. He got out and did stuff with us all the time. Well, during flag football, so you didn't have to get tackled. We had one guy had the ball, and there was like a mob of kids around him, and all they had to do was pull his flag off. But we had that mob of kids where the ball was, just like the reporters are doing. And so they've gone, somebody has kicked a football or a softball or soccer ball on the field, and they've all run to where that is, and they've dropped this, and they moved it. Corbell comes on, Jeremy Corbell comes on to explain why this one is different. Military witnesses, under oath. One was a whistleblower. One was heard in one of the videos chasing a UFO. The other was a witness. All testified. It is real. And this was not even a year ago. They were having this. One of them was featured in the you could hear his voice. His craft might not have been the one filming it, but his voice was on the video. And he engaged, and he found a UFO. And he claimed, Jeremy said that there's 4 more minutes of that video. When he followed it to where it was, after the video that we saw was ended, he ran into a V formation, kind of like the Phoenix Lights. He ran into V formation of the craft. We don't get to see that. He goes, why hasn't that been released? It just baffles the mind. And when I don't think I took notes on this. After that meeting, I think it was that one. He thought it was a different one. After that meeting, there were several senators. They had a classified meeting, and when they came out of that meeting, they were sitting there saying, well, the American people deserve to know the truth. Now, I don't know what that means, but there's some truth that they were told about in that classified meeting, and it isn't the truth that we're being told. I don't know if they're just not telling us or if they're lying to us. Then he was asked, they were asked, is it real? Have people been hurt or killed to cover it up? Does the government study this? Has money been misappropriated for this? At least one answered yes to each one of these, under oath. Now, some of them weren't in a position to know. Like the one whistleblower, he was set to investigate. The military pilots, they only saw what they saw. And they're being completely honest, it appears, but they can only talk about what they saw. And if I start getting into a lot of trouble, I'm gonna just stay over here and talk. But I'm having a fairly good day, so I'm willing to risk it. If I start getting screwed over, I might even die. But if I start getting screwed over because I'm not paying attention, I'm talking, then I'll just come back here. But I'm gonna try and get a little bit done. I have not figured out what I'm going to do with those allies. I'm leaving them there for now. Um, but Lula Elizondo submitted his resignation because this was being hidden from the SecDef. It was God. I'm a hopeless civilian bucket of shit. His nickname is Mad Dog. I remember there's something about my mind when I was healthy. I was still bad with names, but nicknames, especially if I gave you the nickname or if it's cool, I remember those most of the time. I still have problems where I get forgetful now, but if I'm having a good day, my old habits kick in. But they were keeping it from him. He ran one of the UFO programs, and he was setting up people to come in, and he was gonna blow a whistle on it. He was gonna let them know, and he felt that they were keeping it from him. They were keeping things from him that he should know. Uh, they were obstructing him and his job to brief the SecDef, but he doesn't think it was done out of anything other than to protect him because they knew, he didn't they didn't want him to become the ET general or whatever, so at least that's his opinion. I respect it because it's like, more than likely. Uh, we know 20 million was spent on this. We know that. Uh, but have been told that money is taken for things unknown. That was one of the things. That was one of the things David Grutch reported to under oath to Congress, that money has been misappropriated. Uh, but it's still money we know about. We know where that's going. I mean, this is a big thing. I mean, again, even if we don't find ET, um, this is why it's the only thing I'm going to do today for call to action. You really need to write Congress and tell them that they need to get Senator Schumer's amendment, and there's a Republican that co-sponsored it. It's bipartisan. Uh, so I'll get this out of the way. But we know 22 million was spent on this. They need this. They need this program where they're going to declassify everything. It isn't the best, but I think it's the best we can hope for right now. And they should. They should either do the bare minimum and do this, or they should just declassify everything. If they can't. If they can't do the bare minimum of getting a presidential records commission like they did with the JFK files, uh, they should declassify everything. Fuck it, and then maybe they'll figure out you can't keep fucking around with this UFO thing. We gotta like tell the truth on it. We gotta start following the law. Um, but yeah, but we know 22 million was spent on this, and we've been told and he didn't say amounts, but he said money is being misappropriated. It is being taken from things that Congress approves and spent on things that it doesn't approve. And and this is what the Iran Contra, they tried to put people in jail, but they ran in the if you follow the Flynn case, his lawyers tried to do the same thing. They told him, that they tried to tell the judge, well, he didn't know lying to the FBI was illegal, and the judge fucking had a meltdown. And that's another good thing, because that was a thing you always heard with the Bush administration when they were committing war crimes. Like, oh, we had a legal memo. Yeah, right. Give me a fucking break. I'm sorry that if you got a legal memo, it isn't worth the paper it's written on, and that should not be a get out of jail free card. It shouldn't be for anybody. I mean, when it's that black and white. I mean, if that guy graduated law school, what was it, from Regent University? God bless the fucking lawyers or whatever. If you graduated from law school, passed the bar, and you still think it's okay to write a memo saying stuff was okay that we executed fucking Japanese soldiers for, I'm sorry. You take that shit out somewhere. Get the fuck out of here with that. That is just not right. But this is stuff that we know about. We don't know what it was spent on, but it was the same thing. They had money that Congress had approved, and they spent it. I think it was on arms. It was like a little triangle thing going on. But they were buying. I think they were buying arms to give to terrorists and the Iran Contras. And Congress said no, you can't do it. Well, they did it anyways. Well, those people should have went to jail. And they were forced to testify to Congress. Well, your lawyer should have told you you have a right to take the fifth. And that's what it was. Since they elected to tell the truth to Congress instead of pleading the fifth, they got a get out of jail free card for that. And again, that just ain't right. That just ain't right. But when they do audits on the Pentagon now, and whenever they do this audits, the one congressman has said they come up missing like roughly $1 billion every time they've been audited. If casinos can track every dollar, so can the Pentagon. I'm sorry. They were doing it in war when Bush was in office, and again, this was probably more of the same. But when Bush was in office, Rumsfeld was like, "Oh, well, hey, shit happens, but they were fucking losing truckloads of money, skids full of money, just coming up missing, and that should have been the last time. It should have been like when they came up missing nukes. They had gotten rid of Rumsfeld not soon enough after his fuck ups." But they got rid of Rumsfeld and they put, I think, Secretary Gates, not Bill Gates, no relation, I don't think. But they got this Secretary Gates who got in there and he goes, okay, you guys got to figure out how our nuclear handling problem, because there were 6 nuclear weapons that were supposed to be, they were supposed to be going to decommissioning or whatever. They're going to basically tear them apart and salvage everything. And if they'd have gone on that plane and gone to wherever they were going, they would have been off book. I firmly believe that they're going to make suitcase nukes. I firmly believe they're going to make suitcase nukes. And I heard things. It seemed to me that they were going to probably set off a suitcase nuke in Iran. Whatever, I know, and I'm glad I was wrong and it didn't happen, but that's what I saw coming. And and then there was like about 6-7 months after I told a friend, there was a general on TV saying, well, they're going to get us into this war in Iraq, these neocons, and it's got like 3 times the manpower, they got 3 times the size of an army, and they got like 5 times the land area. He goes, they're going to get us in there, or we're going to have to nuke them to deal with it, because we wouldn't be able to handle it, because we were already bogged down in Afghanistan and Iraq. And Gates, he put a commission of generals, and they came up, it was this UFO thing all again. They came up and go, well, we don't know what to tell you, fucking shit happens, just like Rumsfeld said. And he basically fired those guys off that commission. I think they just got reassigned, but it didn't look good for him. And he put another, I still don't think he got any answers, but he at least started sending a message. And this should be the same thing here. When these audits come up, if they're more than like $5 or $10 short, there should be some accounting. People should be losing jobs, and they should be getting some answers. That shouldn't happen more than once or twice, but it does. And I still don't think we got any answers on what happened with those nukes, but It's scary. It's really scary. And and like every military pilot that has come forward and they face these things, they've all said the same thing, that this is beyond us. This is just beyond us. And because that David Fravor and squadron leader for the Black Aces, I think it was, that's what he said under oath. He's like, well, he goes, if these things, if these things were so far beyond us, he goes, we couldn't have stopped them if it would have been necessary. And okay, Corbell talks about the military video. I think the gimbal videos. I think it's the gimbal video, but he was talking about the military videos, and I'm remembering this. I don't think he said. Well, in the uh, he wasn't in the hearing. Well, he was, but he wasn't testifying. Him and George Knapp decided to let the military people speak, the eyewitnesses. They submitted some stuff for the congressional record, but they didn't testify. But but the gimbal I think it was the gimbal. It was one of those ones that was released by it was released by the one of the three videos that the military released. Uh, he Corbell has said that it looks like the same thing that Bob Lazar described. Like 10, 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago now. Back in the yeah, I guess it'd be closer to 30 years now, give or take. But when he described like the craft that he was working on at Area 51 or S4, which is off of Area 51 just slightly, uh, he described them flying like it was a saucer shaped, but he goes, they don't fly like they do in the movies. They basically tip up so that like the bottom of it is facing forward, and that's how they fly. And that thing was doing a lot of like that in that video. That's the way it looked like it was flying, the way he described it. And then they showed clips. I highly recommend you watch this one. In fact, go ahead and watch all three, and then you can skip the next couple videos I put on. I don't feel bad about it because I thought this one was very good. Um, some presidents seem eager to talk about it. Like Bill Clinton said, well, he tried to get to that. I mean, he's the president of the United States. And I've heard the same thing about Jimmy Carter. I heard they tried it. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard a story that they tried it with Eisenhower, and he showed up with the military. I mean, fully armed, geared up, and he said, "Well, are you guys going to open the doors and let me in, or are these guys going to kick the door in and start taking people into custody, or something?" I mean, he literally said it. These guys, you gonna open up the door, or are these guys gonna kick it in, and we'll come in by force? He let them know, willingly or unwillingly, he was coming in. And but then again, he was the line, and they probably believed him because he had the record of defeating Hitler. He was leading the Allied forces in World War II. Probably not the guy you want to piss around with. But like Jimmy Carter, it sounded like he gave. I don't know if it's true or not, but with the stuff that's coming out now, the Wilson memo and stuff like that, it makes it seem a little more believable. But Jimmy Carter, he ordered up all UFO information to be given to him, and I heard it was George H.W. Bush was the CIA director, and he said no. I'm not giving you. He goes, there's an awful lot, but you don't have a need to know. That stuff is need to know, and you've heard other presidents like they show in the video. Uh, uh, Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton, he uh, he tried to find out what happened at Area 51, and there's some other stuff. He got into it. They think that he did a drop in, and it was make believe. But he said that, well, I got a letter from someone, and he wanted to know what was at Area 51, and I'm the president, and they told me, he goes, and if they found aliens, they didn't tell me about it either, and that prompted the military to do a big report, an investigation. And it was like they said they'd already given him a report, and they didn't tell him anything. So he did that, and then they did the report. It was Roswell, case closed. And you saw the same thing recently when a couple years ago. I think it was 22, maybe 21. But Kristen Gillibrand said she was gonna pass an amendment, and it finally turned into this disclosure report where they had like 6 months to give a unclassified briefing to the Congress and the American people in detail, and then they had longer to give a classified one that they could just give to Congress. But as soon as she started talking about doing this, the military, you don't need that. We'll get you what you need. Well, no, let's have it in writing. Let's get it in a law. Let's get it, federal pound me in the ass prison if you don't follow it, and then we'll go from there. But Bill Clinton was talking. Well, I wanted to know, and so it's like, well, wait a minute. So this stuff is true that presidents have asked for it, and they haven't been given it. And uh, President Obama, they were on like your evening talk shows after they were president, and he goes, well, he goes, there's a lot to know. He goes, I can't talk about some stuff, and it goes to, again, when he was president, he can't talk about stuff. He didn't say, oh, I didn't think it was a good idea to talk about it. He said, there's some things I can't talk about it. And the thing it puts out there is there somebody higher up than the president? Is the president, go watch the video and you get your own opinion on it of what those two said. But is there someone or something that's above the president? Because neither one of them, and like I don't know if it's true or not. It was somebody that Bill Clinton, I believe, hired for the White House counsel's office. And he was more than qualified, because there's something that I'm going to say that makes it sound like maybe he wasn't. No, he was qualified. But Bill Clinton told him, well, I got you the job. There's only two things I need you to do for me. He said, I want to know who killed Kennedy and find out if aliens are real. And that was the only thing he cared. He goes, I need you to do something for me, but it's legitimate. I'm a president. I'm asking. But them were the only two things he said. And he said that Bill Clinton finally gave it up because he was afraid they were gonna kill him like Kennedy. And I wish I could remember the guy's name. I don't even know where to tell, but I'm telling you, I'm as positive as I can be that he said that. Now, whether he was nuts, I don't know, but he said that. And then, God, there was someone else. It was either Corbell or somebody in that group. Um, I didn't see it. He claimed that it was a video that's available. It's public knowledge. It's not something in secret. I or at least he'd seen it, the video. He said I think he said he saw him on TV, but I didn't. But he was talking about, oh God, he worked for Clinton. He worked for Hillary. He might have worked for Obama. And he's a real skinny, short guy. I don't think he's real tall. And God, I can't think of the name. I think he was a I think for one president he was a defense secretary or something like that. I think the actual secretary, and the other one he was, I think CIA, or he was something in intelligence, I believe. And God, I wish I could remember. But he was asked about the Kennedy assassination, and I think it was when he worked for Obama, and he goes, "Oh my God," and this is what he said. He goes, "I've seen the UFO files." This is what Corbell said. He said, "I've seen the UFO files. We got bigger things to worry about than who killed Kennedy." That's what he said. And I don't know. I just don't know. And but it just makes you wonder: is the idea of the president just a game that's being played on us? Because it sounds like there are people or things that might be higher than the president. I mean, again, go watch this one and see what you get. Maybe I'm making a little too much of it. I don't know, but it just seems like like because you're the president, because he didn't say, oh, well, there's good reasons I couldn't talk, but he couldn't say, oh, well, I decided that the secrecy was more important, and then that could be, but that's not what he said. He goes, well, there's just some things I can't talk about. It's like he's been given his marching orders. Chappelle made that joke about, and again, he was joking, he was maybe not joking, but he mentioned that when Obama gave his little introduction for Trump to the presidency, he sat there and he goes, he looked shook. And he goes, they probably hadn't even shown him the UFO files, but when the seriousness of this originally hit him, he seemed like he was gonna, he was a little shook by it. Um, and again, now you look at back at the time and you look nowadays, the press and both branches of government has largely gone silent. Now they haven't come out and discredited any of this. They haven't come out. They've tried. They have really tried. And then Corbell, when you watch this, he takes the top 5 reasons of what they could be and starts shooting them down by one by one. Now, one of them is other, and that would be what we're betting on. But top one was secret government tech or other government secret tech. It's not likely. If it was ours, if it was ours, I can't imagine why we're not in there helping the people of Afghanistan, the women of Afghanistan. I can't figure out why we're not in there dealing with the fucking hostages. Why we're not in there helping Israel, why we're not in there helping Afghanistan or Ukraine. It doesn't seem like it's ours. And if it was China or Russia, if they had this stuff, by the reports from the military people that encountered them, Russia would not be fucking around in Ukraine. China would not be fucking. They'd own us. They'd fucking go and blow up the White House and put their flag in the crater. I mean, this just doesn't make sense. And like a lot of the same stuff that we're seeing now was reported at the end of World War II. They called them Foo Fighters. It's a lot of the same things. And every indication that I've seen, if the stories are true, we are dealing with more than one. So, you've had the incidents where they've got them and they're shaped like pyramids. You've got the ones where they're shaped like triangles. Flat triangles. You got the ones where they're shaped like saucers and that. Maybe some of them are good, maybe some of them are bad. I mean, hey, I'm adding this in at the last minute here, but you take a look at that whatever they shot, that spy balloon that they shot over at Alaska. Um, we went and shot that down. We don't shoot all of them down. Now maybe we can't, or maybe some of them aren't that bad. It could be a little bit of both. That one that we shot down over Canada. Again, it was supposedly a spy balloon. Well, if it was really a spy balloon, I firmly believe the Canadian military can handle a simple balloon like that, the actual Chinese balloon that we actually got to see. I firmly believe that the Canadian military could fucking shoot that down. They had to call us in. That's more proof that this was something maybe big, something powerful, because the Canadians needed our help. It was just a simple little spy balloon. We could shoot that down. They could shoot it down. Hell, they probably could have had the Canadian Salvation Army shoot it down, or some hunters. Uh, and the other one that was listed in that five was debris. Well, debris doesn't change course or speed. Debris can be seen with the naked eye, and it doesn't float over the ground like that jellyfish video. It's not invisible to night vision and the naked eye. Uh, okay, the whistleblower was asked if non-human biologics have been recovered, or EBE, extraterrestrial biological entities, for X-Files fans. He said yes, and that was the judgment of the people working on it. He said. Uh, he said that under oath. He said that under oath, and they showed that clip of him saying that, and the Congresswoman Mace that asked him that, she really seemed, I mean, not her usual self. She really seemed humbled. That was kind of like uh, that was kind of like that Senator Lee that went out and visited Skinwalker Ranch. He 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 asked them, well, could this just be another government or another country or whatever? And they go, well, yeah, but they're at least 50, they said they're at least 50 years ahead of us if they are. He seemed shook by that. Because I think he knew the scientists, especially that one Travis Taylor who worked for NASA. I think he knew, I hope the senator knew who he was going to meet with to keep him away from the loons. But, Dr. Taylor, I think has a reputation. He was a child prodigy. He's got like three pretty hard degrees to master, and he was telling them flat out, well, yeah, if they're like at least 50 years ahead of us, then yeah, it could be. But if not, if they're not that far ahead of us, no, it couldn't be. Because that's what we're talking about. And Representative Tim Burchett, I think he's the lone congressman in the House from Tennessee. He hit on the Roswell crash as an example why he doesn't trust the U.S. government. He made a thing like, well, one day it was a UFO and the next day it was a weather balloon. Um, and I can give you an example from my personal life. When I was working third shift at this company back in like the 90s, uh, there was when I came into work, it was third shift. I watched the news a little bit before I came in, and they there was a thing about how they'd found life on Mars. They were just dead serious, and then the next day I got home and I was all excited, and I got home and there was no word about it. Nothing said about it. That would be the moral equivalent of if when you went to bed they told you that the president had been shot, And so you get home waiting to fucking hear from it, and then you don't see anything on the news about it. They're just pretending like it didn't happen. Kind of like that movie that I can't remember where it was out at theaters like a year or two ago, but I don't know the whole story, but it's like he either went to a parallel universe or suddenly everybody woke up stupid and they didn't remember the Beatles. So he basically made a fortune acting like he made up the Beatles songs. I think it's called Yesterday or some shit like that. But that's to me what it was like. It was just one day they found life on Mars, and the next day nobody was saying anything. It was like it didn't happen. And the one guy I worked with, I came in the next night, and he came up. He goes, "Hey, you occasionally watch the news." He goes, "You're the only one in here that watches the news almost as much as me." And I go, "Oh, are you talking about that they found life on Mars?" He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "I got home yesterday." I go, "Yeah, me too. We could finish on this one. This one here, we could finish each other." I go, "Yeah, I got off work and was fucking excited to turn on the news, and that not all day they didn't say anything about it." And he's like, "Yeah," and he thought it was weird. He thought it was absolutely fucking weird, and it's the same thing here with the Roswell case. They tell you, U.S. Army finds UFO or flying saucer or whatever, and then the next day they're trying to tell you it's a fucking weather balloon. Oh, it was, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have a lot of faith in the military, but these guys were at the only base that had the authorization to handle nuclear weapons. That's the de facto standard of the tip of the sword or the tip of the spear. If they couldn't tell, like that pile of shit that they had, if they couldn't tell the difference between that and a fucking alien spaceship, I think they would have been fucking replaced. I really, nobody was moved. And he used the JFK assassination as well. He goes, it's like, 60, 70 years later, and they still got classified stuff. There's still things that they don't trust us to know. He goes, and I agree with him on this. It's like, they, oh, hang on a sec. I gotta. And again, I've spoken out to the president on this. This is nothing. If you want to write the president, tell him he should declassify that whole JFK thing, because even he wasn't old enough to be back in government. I mean, that's one of the. No joking aside. But that is something that he clearly wasn't a part of. That was before. There can't be anybody else alive. There just can't be anybody alive that has anything to fear from the truth coming out. And but he said that them are like two reasons. And like he also said that many people in his party have been caught in what you would call a honey trap to influence in their vote. Instead of worrying about the bullshit with Hunter, the invented shit with the impeachment of, that's something they should be investigating. And he doesn't seem like he has anything to fear. But if you got people that are forcing members of Congress to vote for them because he said flat out they got caught naked in bed with somebody else. Like he goes, they went to a convention or something, and there was somebody laughing at all their jokes, and they're real hot, laughing at all their jokes, paying attention to them, and then the next thing they know, they're naked in bed with them, and then when he goes to vote, He said there's been members that have come up to and they had pictures or they talked about. They go, well, yeah, you were in bed with this girl. She wasn't your wife. Are you really gonna vote against us? Really? Are you? And well, why isn't that being investigated? If Comer's too fucking stupid to do it, get somebody else. But that's what they should be investigating. You know, and he was told flat out when he started pushing for this disclosure for the UFO. He was told that he kicked a hornet's nest and should get some bodies around him. I think in a perfect world they would investigate that. He's had at least one person from another state looking to replace him. It's not somebody from his state. He's a member of the House. Why is somebody from another state? And it just so happens that is a state where he's from. I don't know if he's Senate or House. If it's Senate, it's even worse. But he's looking to interfere with another member, and he's not in charge. He's not responsible for electing House members. Why wouldn't you support somebody? I mean, he seems like a decent guy. I mean, he might be an idiot on every other subject, but he seems like a likable guy. Apparently, he ain't in bed with anybody, so they're forcing him to vote against his will. Why would you try and get when you? I mean, he's not perfect, but he's not selling us out to Russia. At least not that I know of. Why would you be looking to get that? Why don't you take on Trump? If you really like him, no, he don't stand up to Trump. And why is this going on? In a perfect world, this all would be investigated. And he's talking about it on live TV. He's doing interviews on news shows about this. And in a perfect world, this would be something that would be investigated. They would find out what's going on. They would find out what's going on with people that are trying to silence members of the House. And that's not what we're getting right now. And really, when you look at it, whether they're trying to shut him up or whether it's these people that are being investigated, or that are, basically supposedly being influenced to vote a certain way, this should be investigated as interference. And this is the same as January 6th. You're trying to influence or prevent a member of Congress from doing their job. This should all be getting investigated. But okay, let's show some more pictures of Hunter Biden's dick. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's get that going. I don't know. I don't know. Now, they show a bunch of Corbell clips, and they have an ongoing interview of him walking around the street, and he didn't think it out too good. He goes, "It's hot as balls here." That's what he says. It's hot as balls here, and he's walking around, but he was walking around having a bite to eat or whatever, and other stuff. But he was just doing an interview for this. And he started talking about reprisals. And this I'm adding in. Lou Elizondo, they tried to discredit him. Like when he quit, because when he quit, there was one I don't think it was widespread, but there was one branch of the Pentagon. They when they were contacted, they go, well, yeah, he didn't run that. He wasn't involved with ATIP or whatever it was called. And one of the reporters, one of the people that was interviewing it, and it might have been Corbell or somebody like that. They had other contacts at the Pentagon, and he contacted one of them, and they said what's going on, and they go, well, I can't really talk about this. It's not my area. But he goes, he definitely was with it. He goes, I can't say any more. And he mentioned the person by name that they had talked to. And he goes, I don't understand what they're doing over there. It was like it sounded like a rogue branch of the Pentagon. And Lou Elizondo said that there are some people in there that don't even want him investigating it. They not only don't want to acknowledge it, but they don't want to investigate it because they're religious nuts. He didn't say that. That's my words for it. But they don't want them to investigate this because they think it's demonic. And they're going to go to hell for it or whatever, some stupid shit. But Senator Reid, former Senator Reid, had to come out and vouch for him when they tried to say he wasn't involved with ATIP. Well, then they were contacted. Well, we've got another source at the Pentagon that says he was involved in ATIP. And then they changed their story. And this is what we saw with Roswell and a whole bunch of other shit. The story changes. Saw it with the Kennedy assassination. The story changed. Well, okay, he was involved in it, but he wasn't in charge of anything, and he definitely wasn't investigating UFOs. Well, Senator Harry Reid, former senator, he came out and vouched for him. He said, "Yeah, he that was my program. I'm the one that got it started. It reported to me. Yeah, he was running it, and he was investigating UFOs. So that they dropped that. And Grudge." They tried to do the same thing to him. They smeared him from PTSD, which is, it's not a drug habit. It's what you get from coming back from war fucked up. And he was, he came back from it, and they went to some, God, I can't think of the name of oh God, I might be wrong, but it's generally like a news organization for whistleblowers, and that God, I'm trying to think. They're trying to get like the main guy there. There's another country that has him, and I don't know if we're ever going to get him, but he's been, they've wanted to extract him from there and fucking prosecute him. I can't remember it's kind of a white-haired guy, kind of old, real thin. But they're supposed to be for whistleblowers. Well, they must have been co-opted. I mean, again, they are what, again, they could have been compromised. Maybe they were compromised back when they did it and something just got out of hand. But they're supposed to be like for whistleblowers. And they smeared him. They had a reporter smear him, and there was a lot of they contacted the sheriff's department, and they didn't release it. So then they started, the reporters that were involved with him, they started running with it. Well, again, it's then the police changed their mind, changed their story. They're like, oh well, yeah, I guess it was released. Well, no, you said it wasn't. So the only other option they got is that somebody in the medical department broke the HIPAA law, or it was leaked by the intelligence department. And I think they found out that the guy, he was kind of pointed in the right direction from people at the Pentagon or the intelligence community, but he swears by it. But what they failed to mention, they failed to run in his story. It's kind of like the smear job that they just did to Fawny Willis down there. They failed to mention that he had the PTSD before he had that job, and that it was known. They cleared him. When they tasked him with this, he was cleared of the PTSD. And if that's the case, we got a whole bunch of people in this country in and out of the military, then they're not just going to be able to do anything sensitive. If PTSD is a bad thing, it's just amazing. And hang on. But they did that. That's just fucking sleazy, and that's probably why you're seeing everybody involved in this suddenly go quiet. Senators, the news. What they just say? They were in that. This was just out in that Fawny Willis case. She got smeared because she started dating someone she worked with, and they're trying to smear it like, oh, she gave her boyfriend a job, and they were going to get rich together and all this, and everybody's going to be happy, and, fuck the communists and whatever. But she said, well, he wasn't even my choice to run it. She goes, he was a backup option. She said she tried to get a former governor down there in Georgia to do his job. And they interviewed him, and he goes, well, yeah, she approached me about having the job. And he goes, I just told her that I was governor for 4 years. I didn't like living with bodyguards then, and I don't want to maybe have to have bodyguards for the rest of my life. You know, and maybe that's why people are being quiet, because maybe they don't want to have to look over their shoulder their whole lives. Uh, and I got health problems. If they did do, I mean, I would fight it, with every fiber of my being. But if something happens to me, I don't care. Might even be glad when it's over. They finished a job that was started when I was working. Uh, but but that could be why the senators, the congressmen aren't talking about it as much or at all. And then Corbell, he talked about the jellyfish video. It's a recently released video. He's given more information than any other video on it. And I did a video on this, and I'll probably do another one. I'll either repeat it later on, or maybe when more stuff comes out. But he claims one was seen in a nuclear site, and that's the one. It was looked like a little robot or a probe. Maybe there was somebody in it. Maybe it was artificial intelligence or whatever. But it kind of looks like that droid that Han and Chewie shot up at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back. But he said one of them was in a nuclear site, and he claims that he has some footage of it. And this is the other, and I firmly believe he's right on this, but he claims that UFOs is taken more seriously than weapons of mass destruction. And I firmly believe that he's right, because we know about weapons of mass destruction. They talk about those, and they don't make fun of people who talk about it, who claim to have seen one, who worked with. It seems like they do. So I don't know. As soon as I can, maybe it'll be tomorrow, hopefully. But hopefully I can get all 3 of them done. But I got 2 more episodes to watch. Feel free to go watch all 3 episodes. It's on Tubi, and it's the TMZ. TMZ's at the front of it, but it's the UFO Revolution is the name of it. And I just covered part 1, the breakthrough. There is so much that they gave you in this video. I can't touch it. I'm not even going to try, because it'd be like a 4-hour fucking video, and I'd have to break it up, and that'd just be to cover 1. You should go watch it yourself, because so much time would have to be taken up just describing the stuff that they're showing you. But I highly recommend this. Feel free, go watch all 3 episodes, and you don't have to come back and watch me talk about them. But if you do, I'll see you when we get back here. Hope everybody's enjoying. If you were watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get notified when I'm doing these videos for whatever time I have left. Peace out, and have a good day.